Reflections on a Plant, Part 2, or Take 2, I should say. I'm not going to post Part 1. Okay, so let's try this again. This is a Marantha, the best house plant you can possibly bring into your home. And I'll go into, of course, why. This is a silverback. This is my largest one. He looks kind of floppy because I've taken quite a bit of propagates from him, and he's still kind of recovering from that. This is a silverback. This is a relatively new replacement of my favorite, the green one, which he's so difficult. This is actually the most temperamental of them. I haven't figured out, well, the red one, but I don't like the red one. But the green one is beautiful, and he's very difficult to grow. But in comparison to other plants, he's still fantastic when he does what he's supposed to, which I'll get to in a moment. So she's the variegated standard rabbit's foot. I was supposed to look up the botanical name before I started the video, and I forgot to do that. She is hidden away from the sunlight because, unlike her fellows, she really cannot handle much light. She's an on-ball variegated plant in the fact that the more light, well, she and that other thing down there, that he's alive, iteration number 6, iteration number 7 of that philodendron. They are variegated plants, but they do not like light. But she's bountiful. This is the other portion of the green one replacement that we're trying to get to live, and I just moved him again. He came with flowers. This is the original Black Marantha. He actually propagated out very well, and I'll show you where his offspring is laid to rest. But he's growing not as big as his offspring when he was alive, but he's really pretty. Look at that leaf. Look at that leaf. Chocolate. It's like mint chocolate. So this is the pot that I originally had several varieties on the other side getting a lot of light last year, and all the leaves were big. The Black Marantha had huge leaves. The green one, while he existed, had fairly decent sized leaves. And this is the standard form. The red one I just can't, but I don't like the red one. Anyways, silverback. But okay, so they all died off. They flowered, they grew big, they flowered, they did what they were supposed to, and then they all died back. So, and I put the stupid Homonomania trial number, I don't remember, and of course, I'm not gonna buy it again. Anyways, but this plant is far superior than any other plant that you can grow in the house, including and especially over the pothos, which, contrary to popular belief, is not an easy plant, especially if you really like plants, because if you really like plants and you like to tend to care for plants, which means watering them and giving them some light, and a lot of the epipremnums, yeah, they're for people who just want to put something in a dark corner and walk away. So, and I'm not a put it in a dark corner and walk away for the most part. Okay, one moment. So this typifies why this is the best houseplant in the world. The other one, the larger version of this, is the standard rabbit foot that I just left. That pot, again, as I mentioned, they had all died back. And within like 2 months, it's only been about 2 months, and you saw how big he was. This plant is on the bottom shelf, in the middle of the bottom shelf, and you see what he's doing. And he's supposed to be a high water plant. This plant, particularly the standard rabbit foot, grows in sunlight bright, grows in shade dark, will handle neglect like nobody's business. He's a fantastic plant. As I said, far, far superior to the pothos. And here's another. This was I propagate from that other one a while ago, and he just grew like gangbusters. So why is this plant? Why am I lauding this plant? For obvious reasons, I should think. You should know by now. So in case you couldn't, or haven't guessed it, the key to the brilliance of the prayer plant is in its name and is in its activity. He prays. And quite honestly and quite not hilariously, that's not the correct word for it, but it's not a good thought at all, but quite I don't know, not astonishing. It's not astonishing. It's actually pretty predictable. The varieties that pray the most are also the ones that grow the most. Now, this particular one, this is the variegated of the standard rabbit foot. He doesn't like a lot of light, but he did okay. But now that he's been praying more, you see him, he's kind of, because it's getting evening time, he's starting to pray more, and he's starting to grow a whole lot better. This silverback was huge, and of course I did some cuttings and put him through some stressors, and I guess he's retaliating by, he stopped praying so much, and when he stopped praying, guess what? He stopped growing. He stopped growing very much. And finally, like I said, this one, only 2 months. He's only been back in existence for 2 months, and he prays diligently every night. And look at the size of his leaves, and they're beautiful. You see them in the store. They usually have this, because he does fade out. That's why he's the more common, less popular, because he does fade out to kind of a murky, light grayish. But when he's fresh and young, the leaves they just pop. They're the bright chocolate and green and all this. But prayer is this plant's strength, and this is why this is the best plant. Like I said, I've had the red one. I don't particularly care for the red one, and I can't get the red one to do anything. The red one doesn't pray at all, hardly, not for me very much. But when the ones that prayed, when I had them all in the pot, I wish I had a photo of it. That's when I first noticed the comparison, that the ones that folded up their leaves in prayer, the different species, the different specimens, I should say, that folded up their hands in prayer the most, were the healthiest and the strongest, and they flowered the most. And the ones that kind of lay flat, like my silver band is doing now, he just kind of, they're the ones that died off the most. That is the key. That is the strength. That is where life comes from, is keeping our hands folded and our eyes closed and our heads lifted to the Lord. So this is the best plant. I would highly recommend anybody who wants a plant to start with a Marantha. To start with, like I said, he can be a bit boring when he's not freshly pushing out a leaf, but he won't do you wrong. You can put him in highlight. You can put him in low light. You can put him in the middle of the bottom of the shelf on top of, how many tiers? 5, I think that's 4 or 5 tier shelf, and getting, nothing but, a little bit of, now he gets, the room has got a window in it and artificial lights, but so he's getting good light, but he's still in the middle of the bottom rung, growing great. And he prays. I'll show you again. Yep. He prays every night. He prays for light. He prays for moisture. He prays for all of his needs. Those little leaflets or leaves fold right on up. And that is why this plant endures. And that is why this plant is an excellent plant to emulate. The prayer plant. Should I be like a prayer plant? Not in a question, but in a yes, I should, or should I? I don't know how to phrase that. I'm not phrasing it correctly. I would like to be like a prayer plant. How about that? I really would like to be like a prayer plant. Because no matter where his owner puts it, as long as he folds up those leaves in prayer. And like the other one, even if he might, hit a spot and die back, comes back stronger, folding up those leaves in prayer. Not shaken, but not stirred. That's not even, anyways. So, that is my reflections on a plant. Number 9, the humble prayer plant. Should we always strive to be in continuing instant in prayer? For the Lord is our strength, and when we call upon him, He makes a way out of no way.